Southeast Asia is home to a small country called Vietnam, a nation that remained a battlefield for nearly 20 years, fighting for its independence. In this war, millions of people lost their lives. Thousands of soldiers made the ultimate sacrifice. It was a war where the United States directly intervened, and in its attempt to win, it crossed every possible limit of brutality. A war in which more bombs were dropped than in World War II itself, a war that proved to the world that battles are not won by modern armies alone. They are won by strategy. The Vietnam War is counted among those historic conflicts that shattered the illusion of America being an unbeatable global superpower. History is witness to it. Today, we will uncover the complete story of the Vietnam War, why this small nation had to struggle for 20 long years for freedom, why the United States deployed such a massive army there, and what exactly America gained or lost from Vietnam. Vietnam, located in Southeast Asia, is a beautiful country. Its map looks somewhat like the English letter S. It shares borders with China in the north and Laos and Cambodia in the west. The rest of the country is surrounded by the sea. To the east and south lies the vast South China Sea, and to the southwest, the Gulf of Thailand. With its mountains and dense forests, Vietnam looks breathtaking. But behind this beauty lies a history filled with war and conflict. Although the Vietnam War began in the 1950s, to understand its roots, we need to go back 100 years. In the 1850s, France captured Vietnam and turned it into a colony. France wanted to strengthen its trade with China, and Vietnam was rich in resources. Gradually, France took control of the entire region, which became known as French Indochina. Everything remained stable until the 1940s, when global events began to change the region. During World War II, Japan attacked Vietnam to block supplies going to China. France couldn't resist, and Japan took control. But instead of removing the French completely, Japan allowed them to stay with reduced power. In 1945, after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan surrendered, and once again, Vietnam's control shifted. This is where one of the most important figures emerges: Ho Chi Minh, a revolutionary leader who dedicated his life to Vietnam's independence. In 1945, after Japan's defeat, Ho Chi Minh declared the independence of North Vietnam. But Vietnam wasn't fully free yet. The South was still under French influence. This led to conflict between Ho Chi Minh's forces and France. From 1946 to 1954, Vietnam fought a brutal war against France. Despite having fewer resources, Vietnamese fighters used guerrilla warfare, ambush attacks, hit-and-run tactics, and in 1954, France was finally defeated. After this, the Geneva Conference divided Vietnam into two parts: North Vietnam, communist, led by Ho Chi Minh; South Vietnam, supported by the West. Elections were supposed to reunify the country, but they never happened. Now enters the United States. America feared the spread of communism. Following the domino theory, it believed that if one country turned communist, others would follow. So the U.S. began supporting South Vietnam. By the 1960s, America had deeply involved itself in Vietnam. Troops were deployed, bombings intensified, and chemical weapons like Agent Orange were used. But despite its powerful military, America struggled. Why? Because Vietnam wasn't fighting a conventional war. It was fighting using guerrilla tactics, hidden tunnels, and strong support from local people. The war turned deadly. Thousands of American soldiers died, many of them just 19 years old. Back home, protests erupted. People began questioning, why are we fighting this war? In 1968, the Tet Offensive shocked America. Vietnamese forces launched massive attacks, proving that the U.S. was far from winning. Soon after, the horrifying My Lai massacre came to light, where hundreds of unarmed civilians were killed. This further turned public opinion against the war. By the early 1970s, America realized it couldn't win. In 1973, the Paris Peace Accords were signed, and U.S. troops began withdrawing. But the war wasn't over yet. In 1975, North Vietnam captured Saigon. South Vietnam surrendered, and after 20 long years, the war finally ended. Vietnam was reunited as the Socialist Republic of Vietnam.